Welcome to the Perspective Podcast, where we explore different perspectives on success. Join us as we invite successful individuals from a variety of fields to share their stories and insights. Tune in to hear thought-provoking discussions and learn new ways of thinking about success.
All right. Welcome back to the Perspective Podcast, episode 3.
Let's go.
Yes, today we are blessed to have Drey Moss.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And Drey, a little bit about Drey. He is, he's in the him and his brother own this company.
Yep.
And you guys are the ones kind of sponsoring, providing this opportunity for the podcast to happen.
We're trying.
Yes,
We're trying.
100%. And then, we're just going to kind of dive into who Drey is. I've met Drey, dope-ass person, man. Like, just personality. For those of you who don't know him, personality that can really lighten up a room. And also brings a ton of knowledge into whatever he does. And so, love it so far. So, yeah, Drey, kind of start off. Introduce yourself.
Well, like you said, I'm Drey. I work alongside my brother. This is actually his company.
Okay.
I work alongside him in the day-to-day tasks. He's the final decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things with clients, stuff like that's ran through both of us. And, I just try to help him keep his head above the water.
Yeah.
And help him with a lot of his day-to-day tasks and stuff like that.
Right, for sure. And did you guys grow up kind of working together in a lot of different things, or how has that relationship been? Is it something new, or?
It's fairly new.
Okay.
We actually grew up, I don't want to say hate's a strong word, but we darn near hated each other.
There you go. What's the age gap?
18 months.
Okay. So you guys are pretty close.
Yes, very close. He, how do I put it? Growing up, we didn't really meet eye to eye.
Okay.
And he basically, once he hit puberty, it basically sucked for me.
Yeah.
And we basically butted heads all growing up until we basically got into working at the dealership together.
Okay.
Once we started working at the dealership
Car
together,
dealership?
Yep.
Okay.
Auto dealership. He ran as sales manager. I ran as finance manager.
Okay.
He basically was very good at finance to help me learn a lot of stuff in that aspect.
Yeah.
And basically, once he left the dealership, there's a few months span before I came on to MMG with him.
Okay.
And in that time span, a lot of the stuff he did got put on me, and I learned very quickly on how to pivot and
there you go.
basically implement things in moment's notice.
Right. I love that. Now, did that help you appreciate your brother more, or what was that like, being thrown on all of his responsibilities for that 2-month span?
Yes, it helped me appreciate him a ton.
Yeah.
Because we actually had a detail business together.
Okay. Car detailing.
Yep, and he basically owned it. I worked for him. This is before I sold cars, anything like that.
Yeah.
And I absolutely hated it.
Okay.
He was iron fist, like, this is how it needs to be done, this, and I was working in a barn that's 110 degrees in a black car that's 130 degrees. I'm like, I hate this.
Right.
And after a few months of that, I'm like, dude, you can kick rocks.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then that kind of went away for a while. Then we started at the end of day at the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of hit caps on what we could make.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's start cleaning cars after work.
Right.
So we started taking care of all the wholesale cars. So he actually made that profitable for the first time in dealership's history.
Yeah. Well, let me jump into real quick. So caps, I know you don't want to discuss real numbers, but like, give me an example. What's a cap at a dealership at that position? Because sales manager, and finance manager or finance, right? Manager?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Finance manager. What's a cap look like?
A lot of it depends on used dealership, new car dealership.
Yeah.
You're in the six figures.
Okay.
But as finance, you're kind of limited to what the salesmen are doing.
Yeah.
So with Dane being sales manager, like, we were moving 40 to 60 units a month.
Yeah.
Dane kind of took over marketing and everything, and we were pushing about 120, 140.
Yeah.
And jumping into dealership wise, like, there's floor plans, there's an umbrella of things that the general public doesn't know how a dealership operates.
Right.
Going into a lot of that, like, that'd be a whole separate conversation.
Yeah, right.
But where we were at, we physically couldn't sell anymore.
Yeah.
We at
You were making good money though.
We were making amazing money.
Yeah. So what made you leave? What was it in that was like, I want more, or I want something else? What was it? Because a lot of people I know would be like, dude, those are two good positions. Those
are great positions. A lot of people starting in sales, work their entire profession to get to that position.
Exactly.
For us, our differences came in our family life.
Okay.
We grew up, our dad was one of the owners in the dealership.
Okay.
And I got to see my dad and my brother every day. It was amazing. We disagreed on a lot of things.
Yep.
I was kind of the mediator between Dane and my dad.
Okay.
But it got to the point
because you're the level-headed one, or that was just like you're the younger brother, that's kind of what you're stuck with?
It was more so they both are very strong individuals.
Okay.
I can see a side of reason.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're kind of blinded to it at that time.
Right.
Now, I would say both of them are completely different.
Right.
Now they both like have a sense of reason.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, we're going to do this, and this is how it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And it was like, that's it. If you say anything back, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's good.
So I was the one that's kind of like, hey, maybe we should try it, or like, let's do this. And when we got our first camera for the dealership, like, cameras aren't cheap.
No. And
that comes off of our top line profit.
Yeah.
So going into all that, it's something that's like, is that actually going to make us more money?
Yeah.
So dove into that, and it ended up doubling our sales monthly.
Wow.
Just off
How quick? Ballpark.
It was probably about a year and a half.
Wow.
Of hustling.
So you guys came up with the idea. So sales manager, finance manager.
I would say sales manager. Dane came up with the idea to wanting to start implementing marketing.
Okay.
And doing it his way.
Right.
It was something where he wanted to mimic the coasts. So East Coast, West Coast. Here in Kansas City, we're about 10, 15 years behind, just in general.
Yep.
So he's like, I don't want to beat the person down the street. He's like, I want to be competing with the person on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And no one here was doing that. Wow. So he started implementing things that they're doing out on the coast, and it took off like crazy.
Yeah.
And the second he actually stepped out, he had multiple job offers to go make upper six figures at some very well-known groups in the auto space. And that went from him working 6 days a week, 80-plus hours, to 7 days a week.
Yeah.
More hours.
Were you working kind of similar hours?
Yes, it was first one there, last one out.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
How many years did you do this for?
2.5. When I was at college, I was in 18 credit hours Tuesday, Thursday, and that was at the dealership Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Jeez.
So, and then Sunday, day and night cleaned the place.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I was there 7 days a week.
Wow.
And when I would get out of school, if I didn't have like a final or anything, I came up there, checked, make sure I broke all the deals down. I dealt with all the numbers on that side, make sure all that was taken care of with the banks, make sure we were getting paid.
Yeah.
And then transitioning out of college, I was just there 6 days a week. Jeez. And my schedule got a lot easier because I'm like, I don't have school.
Yeah. Wow.
And doing that, still clean the place.
And this is you, your dad, and Dane. You guys are seeing each other 6-7 days a week.
6-7 days a week.
Now, is this something you're used to? Like growing up, what was that relationship like? I know you have a cool story kind of with racing. I don't know you explain it. Go ahead.
So growing up, we saw each other, or we were with each other every weekend.
Okay.
We grew up racing motorcycles.
Nice.
We were very fortunate to have that,
yeah.
And I don't disregard having that at all.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Right.
Dane was very good at racing.
Yeah.
And growing up, I hated racing.
Okay.
I did not want to do it, anything. And then just knowing I'd be in his shadow. Because I'm like, we didn't travel to have fun. We traveled to win.
Okay.
So we'd show up to a track.
This was something influenced by your dad, or Dane?
Yes.
Kind of. Okay, your dad.
Our dad. It was. Dane was sponsored by Cobra Unlimited at that time. Sponsored by Monster Energy.
Yeah.
He had groves of sponsors.
Shit. Yeah.
And we traveled East Coast, West Coast, North, South. We raced as much as we could. We didn't really race local just because for him, the competition was a little different.
Yeah.
Looking now, the competition...
Different as in not as good? Like, you guys needed to go somewhere else?
Yes. Here in Missouri, you can only race half the year.
Yeah.
Since winter.
So
during winter, we'd travel out to the coast because you can still race.
Yeah.
They don't have snow.
Yeah.
So we traveled there. We traveled Texas. We traveled Minnesota during the summer. We tried hitting everywhere and giving Dane as many opportunities to race and compete with people at his level or faster.
Yeah.
So doing that went amazing. And then I ended up getting into racing kind of a little later on.
Okay. Later on, what years? How old were you?
I was probably 8 or 9.
Okay.
And
so this is like childhood.
Yeah, we started when we were 4.
Wow.
So he got his first bike when he was 4. I got his hand-me-down when I was 4.
Oh, shit.
Learned how to ride 2 wheels very quickly.
Yeah.
I never really cared for it until I was about 8, 9.
Yeah.
It was the first time
What triggered that?
Beginning of the race season,
okay.
Out of 40 riders, I was number 40.
Yeah.
I was like, taking last is not fun.
Yeah.
And ended by the end of the year, I was top 3.
Top 3?
Top 3.
Wow.
And I was training with Dane, everything, and trying just for me to compete with him, like, I would take him out in corners just because I'm like, that's the only way I can beat you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our dad trained us on, he's like, this is how you take people out, this is how you do this, this, and this, but that's how riding used to be with my dad.
I don't want to go too into it. Was your dad into racing as well? Or is it something he
Yes.
just wanted for you guys?
He was into racing. He had loads of sponsors back in when he was racing. And
this is a family thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He lipped off to his dad one day, and his dad sold all his bikes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We grew up not back talking.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But, going from that, transitioned into we didn't really know what we wanted to do growing up. Mm-hmm. It was Dane was going to become pro. I was going to become a mechanic working for him. Yeah. And that was our roadmap to life. Yeah. That's just what we lived and breathed since we were 4 years old up until I was 14. He was 16. Yeah. And then I got into an accident, and after that, our dad sold all of our bikes. He's like, I'm done. Yeah. You see it happen to people.
Wasn't worth it to him.
Yeah. It's something you see and you know it can happen. You just don't expect it to happen to you.
Right.
So after that, we both are like, well, I guess we're going to college. Mm-hmm. And going to college, it's like.
Did you guys take it that well? Or what was it like? Because you guys said that was like your plan, right? Was it like, okay, we'll just go. Or was it a transition of you had to adjust your mindset into just accepting that's not. Or was it pretty like, I'm good with following what dad says?
We definitely adjust our mindset. It was something where it's like, I'm like, no, I can still race. Like, yeah. It happens, like shit happens. Right. You just expect it.
Right. From your point of view.
Yeah. And I was like, literally the second he told us, he's like, you'll never own a bike under my roof. Second, Dane and I both move out, we go buy motorcycles. Yeah. All right, let's go. Right. And then we just figured we just don't have time to ride them now. Yeah. But we took that step, and going into college, it was, I mean, I wouldn't say either of us are like the mathletes. Yeah. We're good with numbers, and we're good with science.
There you go.
Horrible at English, but now looking at it, there's spell check on everything, which helps us a ton.
Everything, yeah. There's AI, there's spell check.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, we can talk about AI for days, for sure. So you guys are close to dad growing up, right? And you are okay with kind of taking the shadow. You were going to be the mechanic. Mm-hmm. You were going to let Dane be the star. And then going into the dealership, right? Yep. You said you guys worked together. Your dad was the owner, one of the owners of the dealership. Yep. And then, so you guys, Dane killed it in marketing in the dealership, and he decided, like, I'm going to go start my own thing. Did he take those job offers that he was offered? No. And were you tempted, if he took the job offer, were you tempted to go with him? Was it kind of like, I'm going to follow him just because we've been working together so long?
No, it was kind of where he was given an ultimatum, and the reason why he stayed at the dealership was because myself and my dad. Okay. We had a grand vision of where the dealership was going to go. Mm-hmm. And then he was kind of given an ultimatum. It's like, hey, you're going to help take care of this dealership and this dealership. And Dane's like, no. He's like, I'm here for my family. Yeah. And after that, it was kind of like, well, that's how it's going to be. Then that's when Dane's like, I'm out. Yeah. I'm done. Wanted to start this, and immediately, right when he signed all the official documents to create a company, it's like, bam, COVID.
Really? So that's when Moss Marketing started. Right?
Yes, it started right almost like a week into COVID.
Wow.
And he's just like, well, now what?
Yeah.
So he was very smart with his money. He had money set aside. He's like, I can live for quite a few years if I even didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So he kind of got all the ducks in a row to finally hit the ground later into COVID.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to hit the ground running. And the second he launched, he was doing marketing. He had 3 to 5 dealerships reach out to him that day.
Yeah.
And then that's when he called me. He's like, hey, I think I'm on something.
There you go.
And the second he told me that, I went to the GM. I'm like, hey, I'm out. I'm like, you got my 2 weeks. I'm like, I'll train whoever you need to. But I'm like, at the end of 2 weeks, I'm done.
And where were you at in that point? Did you have some money stashed? Like, were you in the same situation as Dane, or did you just trust your brother that much?
I wouldn't say I was in the same position because I just bought a house that year.
Okay.
So a few months prior, I was sitting there, my girlfriend and I, we lived in an apartment, and we're like, hey, let's buy a house. And I cleaned out my savings, everything, down payment. I'm like, we're getting a house.
Right.
I moved into a house with $78.
Jeez.
I'm like, if anything goes wrong, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So I rebuilt a bit of a cushion.
Okay.
Nothing big by any means, but I could live for about 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
And I'm like, if we have to go that long, and I did take a pay cut leaving to work for Dane. Dane's like, no, this could be big.
Yeah.
He's like, you just got to bear with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And within the first 2 months, he's like, I didn't realize how much responsibility you took over. So he gave me a pay increase within like the first month or two. It was good. It helped a ton, but it wasn't where I was at. And now looking back, what I was doing, I've also had those job offers of going into dealerships, and I was like, you can make that much?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, if you're good.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even think I ever had the opportunity to make that much.
Right.
So it really opened my eyes a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I kind of trusted him, and I'm like, let's go. I'm like, we're either going to go all the way to the top or we're going all the way to the bottom, but we're going together.
There you go. I love that. And since then, what has kind of been, like, what has MMG meant? What has Moss Marketing meant to you so far? Like, where are you at right now? As a company, as a what's your role in the company?
My role in the company is, like I said, I'm secondhand to Dane.
Okay.
We work very well, managing, taking care of our accounts. He is a much better closer than I am. Mm-hmm. I'm a lot more analytical in a lot of things. But I'm basically, I try to know everything so I can help out with anything I need to.
Yeah.
There's a lot, everyone that works here is very specialized in what they do.
Yeah.
And I can't do anything probably near as good as they do. That's why everyone here this is now the foundation of when we're growing. Everyone here, the managers are now in place.
Right.
For when we grow, everyone's going to be working under the people that are currently here right now.
Yeah. So it's a culture you guys are trying to build.
Very much so.
And it sounds like it's a culture that you guys have been having kind of instilled in you, right?
Yes.
From a young age, coming from your dad, coming from the race world, like it's just kind of a culture that everybody has a role, right? And it doesn't really matter who's shining. We're gonna, what you said, we're either gonna go to the top or we're gonna go to the bottom, but we're gonna go together.
Yep.
That's cool. That's cool. Did you do this purposely? Like when you guys were racing, did you guys think like we're gonna own a business one day, or we're gonna own, like what were you guys' thoughts on that?
Never crossed our mind.
Yeah.
We had a vision, and when we have a goal in mind, that's the goal. Yeah. That's plan A. There is no plan B or plan C. It's like, I truly believe if you go full-heartedly into plan A will be successful.
Yeah.
But it's just doing it better than everyone else. And a lot of people have backup plans. Mm-hmm. And I think the second you have a backup plan, you're not really fully invested in plan A.
Yeah.
So then, more than likely, I think it will fail.
Right.
That's just my perspective.
I love that. I love the fact that it's so true that, it's a mental thing, right? Let me ask you this. Growing up, this is what I really wanted to get into. Your perspective on growing up with two people, because as men, I think we all grow up and we kind of gather and we gain an ego, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like, I mean, I haven't experienced a ton with you guys, But it seems like, and you said it yourself, you were okay with kind of just playing the background, playing second place, or, not second place, but playing the younger brother. But then also playing the younger brother is hard for a lot of people, but you also had to play the son as well, because it sounds like your dad was involved in a lot of stuff too. Mm-hmm. What's your perspective of that? Because you're around two hard-headed people. Obviously, they've both had success in their field, right? What is that like from your point of view? What was it like as a child, and what's it like looking back?
As a child, I would say the way I've always viewed it is the reason why is we become a mechanic. I make or break the race. So Dane's out there doing what he needs to do. If I don't put that bike together the way it needs to be put, he won't win the race. Mm-hmm. And if all those gears aren't clicking, and everyone here, all their gears aren't clicking, we don't win.
Yeah.
So with having those gears put in place and making sure it's all done correctly, that's how you win. So I didn't really look at it as second place, but I look at it as I have an essential part in the cogwheel to make sure we currently win. So that's the way I view it. As a kid, I just hated racing. I'm like, bro, that's your thing. Go for it.
Yeah.
But the thing is like I said, we didn't race to have fun.
Yeah.
And at 5 years old, I'm like, bro, I just want to play with Hot Wheels.
Right.
And Dane's out there racing national championships, and it's like, you take second. Our dad was pissed.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're not racing for yourself. You're racing for all your sponsors, all that stuff.
Right. A lot of responsibility with that.
At 6 years old, that's a lot of weight on someone's shoulders.
That explains a lot about Dane.
So
explains a lot about both of you, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And tell us a fun story about, because I know hard-headed people, they aren't always, like, what's a time recently that you had to calm Dane down?
Heated or happy?
What's that?
Heated or happy?
Both. Because I think he's a mix of both.
He goes 100%. He's either like super mad or he's super happy.
Yeah.
But usually he's gotten very good at compartmentalizing his anger in a lot of things. Used to, the shortest thing, his fuse was very small.
Yeah.
I think with him having this company and us all being here, we all push each other's buttons.
Yeah.
When you spend every day with someone, they're going to make you mad.
Yeah.
But here he's actually very good, and he doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? He doesn't really get mad. There's some things that set him off. If he has to tell you to do something like 3 times, he's like, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
He's like, we've tried it your way. It's not working. Do it.
Right.
He actually got mad at us when we were doing photos about, I'd say a year ago.
Okay.
It was a good cash flow for the company, and I knew that it needed to be done. The job sucked.
Okay.
But
explain the job a little bit, what you can.
Basically taking 800 photos, fully edited, each day, doing description of vehicles. It was a headache.
Yeah.
But
tedious.
We were also 10 times more expensive than the other company.
Yeah.
But we knew good photos make cars sell. When you're on a lot of these websites competing against 100 other competitors, make yours stand taller.
Right.
So we did that, and I knew very little about editing, getting into this. And he wanted me to try something new, and I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, I got a process down. It goes well.
Yeah.
Now looking back at it, it saved about 3 hours a day.
Yeah. Your process or his new implementation?
His new implementation saved about 3 hours through my process. That I was like, but he got heated. He's like, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it this way.
Right.
And he's like, you're going to figure out how to do it tonight.
That's crazy, yeah.
So I go home that night. My girlfriend's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Right. Because, you seem so you're very laid back. Yeah, for sure. I love that.
Yeah,
at least what I've been able to see.
Yeah, I try to be. And like I said, it takes a lot to kind of just push me over the edge.
Yeah.
I've learned to not get mad at things, and usually if you think about it, there's a better way to handle it.
Right.
That's kind of what I've got to.
100%.
And then his happiest time was probably when we moved into this place.
Okay.
A lot of people.
Where'd you guys start? Explain that.
We started in a bedroom.
In a bedroom.
We started in a bedroom.
Okay. So you left a dealership for a bedroom.
Yep. Left slinging paper, getting people financed into cars to work on a laptop in a bedroom.
Okay.
I was like, curveball.
Yeah, for sure. And a pay cut.
Yep. And a pay cut.
Okay.
Left that, and then after the bedroom, we moved to a basement, and it was a nice basement. When you say basement, a lot of people are like, really? But we transitioned to a basement, and then we outgrew that.
How many people did you have working for you at that time?
6 or 8.
Okay. You guys are all in the basement.
All in the basement.
Okay.
With a
you guys are parking
table.
in the street, walking to the backyard, I'm guessing, and going through the door, or walking in the front door?
Walk through the front door.
Go downstairs.
Dane and his fiance were very giving to having us in their home every day.
Yeah.
And we outgrew that. And then growing up, our dad actually managed, he did home loans. Okay. So he had a building actually a block from here.
Okay.
And we were down there all throughout the week if we weren't in school. Yeah. And we weren't on the road racing. So we grew up a block from here. And when this came available, Dane's like, that's it.
That's it.
And the day he signed papers, we came down here. We didn't have anything in here. He's sitting there, he pops a bottle of champagne, and the smile on his face is just like, that was like a pinnacle point in MMG to completely change morale. And we pivoted into larger accounts. Yeah. And since then we're just trying to hold on. Right.
Hold on. Because you guys are growing pretty fast.
Yes.
Explain that a little bit, what you can share with us.
We've brought on a lot of specialized people that have opened our eyes to what we used to be doing.
How'd you guys find these people? Because you guys have some pretty dope-ass people.
Yeah.
How'd you guys find them?
A lot of it just kind of falls into place.
Okay. Give me an example of one. Not your favorite one. I don't want you to pick out an employee.
Well, everyone has their own story of like kind of how we all cross paths.
Yeah.
Probably one of the funniest ones is when Dane got into marketing. Jaime, he's one of our video editors.
Okay.
Dane actually worked with him at the dealership, and he's like, all right, cool, pushing videos out. He was helping Dane edit all this stuff because Dane was still fairly new to editing.
Yeah.
And he did some stuff for us and helped us out a ton in the video and helped Dane learn a lot. Go full circle, he was down in Texas and moved back up here to work with us.
Yeah.
So he worked at a shoe company down in Texas, and they killed it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was his footage, his editing skills. So we're like, man, we need that.
Yeah.
So he came back up here. And
perfect timing. You guys kept in touch with him. How did it work?
Yeah. Dane kept in touch with him. The dude's phenomenal at what he does.
Yeah.
And Dane's always kept in touch. Like if he ever had videos he needed help on, he would always lend a helping hand. And now come full circle, he's here with us doing what he loves to do.
Yeah.
So there's a weird way everything cross paths with everyone that's here.
Yeah, I love that.
So it makes each person special in their own way.
Yeah.
The way I see it.
I love that. And so the plan moving forward, right, you having the finance background, right? Mm-hmm. And then you coming in and supporting your brother in this vision he had, how big do you guys want to take this? What's the goals here? I know last podcast we talked about doing a podcast on a jet. I remember we talked about that. So obviously pretty big, but for you personally, taking away everybody else in the company, just you personally, where would you like to see it go? And what hand would you like to play in it?
To see where it goes is I don't think we know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Right now we keep growing, and at one point we could have kept our accounts we had, lived comfortable lives.
Yeah.
Not stressed, maybe worked like 3 days a week. We could have done that. And we did that for maybe like 3 weeks.
Okay.
And it was like,
how'd it feel?
It was weird. 4 days a week not doing anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to say you feel lost, but it's like I could be doing something else.
Yeah.
So we kind of all came to the realization of, you guys want to grow. So
yeah.
Then we kind of just hit the ground running again, and we were going like this.
Okay.
Where we'd pick up, or I shouldn't say like that. We were going like this.
Yeah.
And we'd get a bunch of business, and then we'd stop marketing ourselves. Get it all figured out, start marketing our business, and then not market ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we did that, and then finally, the reason everyone's here is we can keep marketing ourselves. We keep doing what we preach to everyone else to do.
Yeah.
And
because you guys really do what you guys preach. Yeah. Everything you say or encourage people to do.
Yeah.
I see you guys on social media doing the same thing.
We try to do it all, and if there's only a few more hours of the day, we could be a lot further.
Yeah.
But we're trying to push as fast as possible without losing quality.
Yeah.
And that's what everything we look at is scalability.
Yeah.
And each thing we implement, it's like, is this scalable? A lot of it hasn't been. And we kind of pulled the reins back. We still have some accounts. It's like, hey, we're not taking on any more of that.
Yeah.
But we can implement this on new accounts.
Right.
So it's all about creating the perfect ball to make that company successful.
I love that.
So we've trialed and error, and we always trial things on ourselves first before we implement it.
Yeah.
And even though we're like, oh, that's a great idea, we implement it, and then it's like, whoa, we didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So then it's like we never let our accounts suffer from our failures. So we sit there and we're like, hey, we'll keep that the way it is, and it'll work. It's just a lot more manpower on us.
Yeah.
But it's something where that was our fault for doing that. Mm-hmm. It's not your fault for taking it.
Right.
So we've learned a lot. Our goal moving forward is, like I said, we're laying the foundation currently.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where the end goal is.
Yeah.
I know we set yearly goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals.
Yeah.
But we hit our 3-year goal in 6 months.
Jeez.
So doing that, we're like,
yeah, maybe we need to reevaluate our goals.
Yeah, but it's something that was a huge thing to have.
Yeah.
And 6 months in, we're like, okay, maybe we stretch that out a little further.
Yeah.
Like, maybe make those numbers a little bit higher.
Right. Because most of the time in business, right, you have what? Quality, speed, and then you have quality, speed, and price. Mm-hmm. Right? And from those, you can only pick 2. Right? So if it's quality and fast, then the price is going to be high. Right? If it's cheap and fast, the quality is not going to be good. So with Moss Marketing, where would you say, I mean, I'm sure every marketing company kind of deals with that, but where would you say the balance comes if you had to choose, if I'm coming to Moss Marketing, right, and I'm expecting 2 out of those 3, which are your 2? Quality, price, and speed. Where would I say, you know what I mean?
For us, I would say quality and speed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say we're the cheapest. We're not.
Yeah, I like that.
We don't plan on being the cheapest. A lot of times you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
We've tried outsourcing things before.
Yeah.
And we got what we paid for. Like, man, we can get someone cheaper to do this, and then we get it back, and we're like...
Because that's part of business, right? That's part of strategy. Like, we strategize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all about bottom line, looking at those numbers, seeing where you can maximize your profit.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all out here trying to do.
Love it.
But at the same time, I'm like, we tried it. It didn't work. We tried it on ourselves. We wasted some money. But at the same time, it's like, our quality, I do believe, is better than any other marketing company in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Our speed, we've picked up accounts because how fast our turnaround time was.
Yeah.
And our price, like I said, I'm not going to lie, we're not the cheapest.
Right.
But when you come to us, we do get the job done.
Yeah.
And we get it done in a timely manner. And I would say 99% of the time our customers are happy.
Love that.
There's 1%.
There's always 1% in everything you do.
They ain't going to be happy no matter what you do.
No, I love that. I love that. Kind of, I mean, 3 personal things, because we've talked a lot about business, right? Going in on personal, what are 3 personal goals that you want to accomplish that you haven't yet? That, I mean, this business side is obviously going to create a huge platform for that, to happen.
Yes.
But what's Drey like?
3 personal goals would probably be, I want to have freedom over my own time.
Okay.
That's all you're given in life is time. I want to be able to have the freedom where I can get my stuff done whenever I need to, but I can always go do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Financial freedom, same thing. I want to have enough money where money's never a topic in my family.
Yeah.
That's something where growing up at 08, 09 wasn't a fun time for anyone.
Right.
We did see things change. Don't want that to ever be an issue. And the last thing is probably my health.
Okay.
My health, just because
go into that.
I want to, when I have kids, I want to be able to do anything they want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like, hey, you guys want to go rock climbing? I can't.
Yeah.
I want to be capable of doing anything at any given point, and my body, me not being able to do it because my body can't do it.
Right.
So those are probably my 3 main goals.
Those are good goals. What about bucket list? What's your top bucket list? I want to ask you 3. What's your top bucket list? Something that you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Want to do, like business-wise, or just me?
Just you.
I want to go to Japan.
Japan. Why Japan?
Their food's amazing.
Yeah? Just go to Japan and eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll
be good on the health.
Yeah.
No, I'm just playing.
Their food's actually super healthy.
Yeah.
And
you know, it's funny, when I heard this from somebody, I forgot who I heard it from, but they actually went to the islands, and they said that they were warned, hey, don't go there and just overeat, because the food is so, like, from harvest to your mouth, there's not a long process. In America, there's a long process, and our body's so we're not used to real food. And so they told this person, I forgot who he was, but it was a guy who told me this. He's like, don't go where you're going to get sick, because your body's not used to good food, like quality food.
Yeah.
And he went, and he didn't listen. He overate, because, I mean, the food's really good. And, yeah, he got so sick while he's out there. He said he was out there for 3 weeks or something like that. And one of the weeks he was out there, he was just sick, like crippled.
That's probably a good thing you told me that, because literally I'm like, all I'm going to do is eat while I'm there.
Yeah, you might want to ask. Yeah.
Pace myself.
Just pace it, because, the quality of food, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, our field to plate here is not fast at all.
No.
They just put more preservatives to make it last longer.
Yeah, I noticed. My veggies, like, when I actually get veggies from somebody that grows them, they give them as a gift, they go bad in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And the other, like, the avocados I buy, I'm like, they don't get ripe until I buy them, and they sit on the shelf for like 5 days.
Yep.
That's funny. But yeah, going to Japan, keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's just a small thing, but I have a lot of bucket list things where I've been very fortunate enough to do a lot of things for my age that a lot of people haven't.
Right.
You
plan on ever breaking away and starting your own company? Has the entrepreneurship that was provided to you, have you ever been like, hey, Dane, I'm with you, but I think I'm good. I think I'm going to go and start this, and we're going to complement each other. Have you ever thought about that?
We've talked about creating companies together other than this. Like, there's a lot of other things we want to get into.
Yeah.
Financially on stuff like that. But starting something and leaving this, probably no.
No.
Like I said, I've been offered life-changing money.
Yeah.
That I ended up telling them, I'm like, no. They're like, and I was 25. Yeah, 25. And they offer me over $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're turning us down.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I have a vision of here, and like I said, I don't have a plan B.
Right.
This is my plan. Working here, we will make it big, and that is the plan.
That's crazy.
Things we do along the road, on the side, great, but this comes first.
Yeah.
So I haven't.
Have you always been like that? Because that's kind of, business-wise, that's actually pretty mature. How old are you?
27.
27. That's pretty much a mature, because when I was 27, you wrote me a check and I'd do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was I could do anything. And so what brought that mindset? Like,
I think a lot of it came from working in finance.
Okay.
When you go through people's credit, you can tell a lot about an individual from their credit.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate enough to be well-versed in credit since I was about 12.
Okay.
So I've looked at credit, all that stuff, and you can see in someone's life where everything was going good and it dropped off.
Yeah.
And stuff happens. I get it. And people didn't talk about bankruptcy.
Right.
Now it's like, oh, I filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's pretty common.
Hey, you're telling people that?
Yeah.
But it's something where you can tell a lot about an individual, and I don't want to be that person later on in life. I'm like, hey, this happened, and it's like I could have changed this path.
Yeah.
And living with those what ifs is like, what if I took that job and I was making $500,000?
Right.
My house would be paid off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to stress.
Might not have a girlfriend, though.
Yes. I want to have a happy life at home. I'd go home to a house I own, free and clear, by myself. That doesn't sound fun to me.
Yeah.
And on the road to the top, everyone that's around me, and the way my brother and I view it is, everyone that's here, we want to be at the top with us.
Yeah.
We feel like there's nothing worse than getting to the top, because we know a lot of people that sit at the top by themselves. We don't want to be those people. We'd rather get to the top and have plenty of money to share for everyone. And that makes it so we're not greedy on our end. It's like, hey, we could take a huge bonus at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Or put it back into everyone else at the company, because they deserve it too. And they're the reason we're sitting here.
Yeah. And to pry. Is that something that you thought, like you and Dane collectively sat down and said, hey, you know, if we're going to lead, we have to lead in a way that we have to welcome our guys to come with us to the top? Or is that something that's just natural? Because that's not, in my opinion, I don't see that as a lot of people, it takes greed to get to the top, right? And it takes, you know, a lot of people will go through that. And when they're tempted with that phase of going to the top, that's where a lot of people fail. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that something planned, or is that just naturally that's how you guys were raised, that's how you guys are?
I just want to, it kind of all fell into place on its own. We've seen the people be greedy to get to the top. Okay.
What's their names? No, I'm just playing.
Back before 0809, the housing market was bad.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know that is like, you could work for the city and own 7 homes.
Yeah.
I mean, legally, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Financially, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
But it was capable of being done.
Wow.
So that's what we saw, a lot of that, not from our dad's company, but like a lot of his competitors would do things that were outside the realm.
Yeah.
And he's like, you do that, you lose your license. It's like you just went from making over $1 million a year to nothing overnight.
So that's kind of how your dad is.
Yeah. So he's sitting there, he's like, there's a way to do it and there's a way to do it correctly. But when you do it correctly, the people stay with you.
Yeah.
And the people will use you again. So that's what a lot of his business is, repeat business, because he does people right. And we've had salespeople at the dealership where it's the best salesperson you've ever seen, but they never had a repeat customer, just because they were taught to sold and not really do everything ethically correct.
Yeah.
So
kind of like living for the weekend. They were living for that sale.
Yes.
And then it was over.
Yeah. After that, it's like you learn that the sale starts once you sell the car.
Yeah.
That's when the sale truly starts, and that's when you keep the rapport, keep all that, so they come back to you again to buy another car.
Right.
Then you're not living week by week on just hunting. You build up that business, so people start coming back to you, and that's what here we've built a kind of a friend group with all of our clients that they refer us people, and they know we're going to take care of them.
Yeah.
So that's where that referral base still comes now, and everyone we work with, we see our friends. Yeah. And we'll go hang out with them on the weekend.
I love that.
And it's not like we're just sitting there just pounding business. Send me referrals. I'm like, man, if it comes and someone needs help, just let them know.
Right.
We're not going to go in and hard sell them.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if you want to work with us, great. If not, we're not going to shove it down your throat.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. And the reason I bring that up is because I think everybody I talk to in business, they say that. Right? They say like, oh, I'm invested in every customer. Not too many people I meet show that, right? Because again, it's the short term vision that people have. Once they get that money, it's time to move on to the next. That's just human nature.
Yep.
Right? So for you guys to have fastest growing company, marketing company, right? And for you guys to have that, and then on top of that, make sure you have a retaining program too, where you retain the customers, because that doesn't pay immediately.
No.
And it says a lot about a company, and it says a lot about their leaders.
Yeah, it doesn't pay immediately, and we don't run many contracts.
Yeah.
We maybe have like one account we run a contract with.
Okay.
And
most of them are
contractless.
Yeah.
And they work with us, and we work on a handshake.
Yeah.
We grew up a handshake meant something.
Yeah.
And a lot of the companies we work with, it's like, hey, we're here to bring you to the top.
Yeah.
And we want to be along for your ride. And we'll do everything we can to get you to the top.
Yeah.
And we don't sit there and nickel and dime people where it's like, hey, well, it's like you need to, that'll be an extra $25. That'll be this. It's like, I mean, if you want to make a purchase, I'm like, just let us know what you need.
Yeah.
We'll take care of it. We'll just bill you cost.
Yeah.
It's takes us not very long in the aspect of what it take them to find another company to do it, give them all the stuff they need. Then that's why companies leave you.
Yeah.
Because you, at that point, they become a liaison through 5 other companies.
Right.
Just call us. If we can't do it, we'll let you know. But it's worth a call to be like, hey, you guys take care of it. All right, cool. And it makes it so our retention rate is much higher than a lot of companies.
I love that. That's crazy. It's just a culture, right? Let me ask you this. Finding these people, I'm going to jump back to that because you guys have a killer team here. Finding the people, what's a rule or what's like the going into like, you know, starting the company, what's a rule that everybody has to have? Like what's something that if I were to go talk to all your employees, what's something that you would bet all your money and say they all have this? What would you say it'd be?
They all have drive.
Yeah.
They all want to grow and want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
So that's what many of the people here have had job offers like my brother and I have had. And
right. You have a talented squad here.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we sit there and we talk with them. We're like, man, if you're doing something to better your future, there will be no hard feelings.
Yeah.
We are all here to grow in life, and we're not here to hold you back. By the end of the day, it would suck.
Yeah.
But since we started, we've let one individual go.
Okay.
It was a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But we believe that the growth, the pedal's down. We're trying to go as fast as possible. And that wasn't allowing us to do it. Everyone here, it'd be like if we brought on 20 accounts tomorrow, our days just got, 3-4 hours longer.
Yeah.
And everyone here would be like, okay, let's make it work.
Right.
And it's not like, hey, we did this, and they're like, oh.
Everybody's bought in.
Yeah, I got to go.
Yeah.
So I'll see if I can get it done tomorrow. Everyone's like, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's put our heads together. We all go sit in the meeting room. It's like, how are we going to do this? Because we just started them all today.
Right.
And they all need to be live next week.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's figure out what we need to do to get this stuff in order, line everything out. Jeez. So when next week hits, we can hit the ground running.
Yeah. You guys have a lot of nights like that?
We did.
Yeah.
With our processes we have in place now, when we bring on quite a few accounts, it's something where we started planning ahead. So usually everything that's being launched on day one, we already have, and it's ready to be put out. And it's something where we weren't sitting there at first day. It's like, what do we do?
Yeah. No, and it's cool to hear that because so many people, probably the companies that you market, they're going to hear this and they're going to be like, no shit, like I went through the same, you know what I mean? Whatever they're doing. In the beginning, we're just winging stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then processes come and we get better, we get more professional. But one thing for sure that I love that sticks out is just the perspective you bring of like, it's about the relationship first, right? The money will always come. I can't be bought, right? That says a lot in saying that like, yeah, I could be making $500,000 a year right now, but what would I have, right? And so your why isn't money. It's hard when you get in a room full of people where their why is money. It's hard because backstabbing, right? And
I've seen people get stabbed over $1,000.
Yeah.
Where I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, really?
Yeah.
You're going to lose a relationship for $1,000?
right.
And at the end of the day, $1,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I'm like, bro, just sell some stuff on eBay.
Yeah.
Like, follow Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Do what he says for a week.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, in my eyes, they print more and more money every day.
Yes.
You can make more money every day.
Yeah.
It's not something to lose friendships over.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And we've had clients where it's like, bro, I'm like, you haven't paid us in 3 months.
Right.
And I'm like, there comes a point where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
we still need the money
Yes.
because we're doing the work for you.
Yes.
But I'm sitting there, I'm like, we try to work with people and stuff like that. But it gets to a point where I'm like, sometimes you just got to cut the dead weight.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, man. Let me ask you, we're kind of running out of time. What would you, From Drey, like what would be something that you would want everybody to remember coming from you?
Oh, I don't know. From me, I would say
it could be towards customers. It could be towards just everybody in general. It could be more entrepreneurship. What's something that has stuck out to you and that's something that you live by that you think is worth sharing?
Probably just value the people closest to you.
I love that.
I've seen a lot of friendships ruined, and a lot of new friendships started. Going into business, people telling you you're going to fail, people saying that's not possible. Failure rate's 97%.
Yeah.
And everyone will tell you can't do it till you do it. And then they'll be like, man, I knew you could do it the whole time.
Yeah.
And those I feel like aren't true friends. Your true friends are the ones standing right next to you, working with you to get you to the top. So that'd be what I would say.
Love that, man. That's something we could all take and implement right away. I mean, we all have people close to us.
Yes, we do.
I love that advice. Man, thank you. This, honestly, I've been wanting to do this interview for a while just because when I was writing down who I wanted to interview, I've already talked to Dane, right?
Yep.
And then I had people in my circle. And then, but I'm like, I want to talk, because I feel like, again, how I introduced you, you have an energy about you that you bring so much energy, but then you're not overwhelming with like pushing it, right? It's just like, it's here. You know what I mean? You can take as much as you want, but I'm not going to push it on you. And you just stick out. And so, no, thank you for coming on here.
Hey, I appreciate you having
even
me
short notice, like, right? We were supposed to, I was going to have you later, but we had you today. And so, no, I'm glad. I'm really happy. I got to know you more. Good conversation as always. And good. I'm glad. So everybody, this is Drey Moss again. We are this is episode 3, and thank you all for tuning in. And episode 4 will be coming soon.
Let's go. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
This has been the Perspective Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on social so you never miss an episode.